All right, what's happening, traders? It's Mark here at dinotrading.com. Let's get right into this video recap. What an insane day. All right, what an absolutely insane day to trade the E-mini futures. For those of you guys that were waiting and hoping and praying for a sell-off, boy, did you get your sell-off today. Okay, if you can see the chart right now, I don't know if you can see this blue line right here. This blue line is midnight. Okay, so everything to the right of this blue line is today's full session, and just look at this thing get cratered, right? Just get destroyed, today's sell-off. Now, listen, guys, you know that I am firmly bullish on this market until proven otherwise. I'm always trying to look for areas where I can go long any severe sell-off, and today was no different. I'm sure eventually at one point the trend the long-term trend may reverse, and I'll start looking for shorts every day. But for now, guys, what I'm going to show you in this awesome video is how to catch exact lows in any market sell-off. Whether you trade the E-mini futures, whether you trade stocks like Tesla had an awesome day today, Facebook, Apple, whether you trade Forex, this technique can be applied really to any market, any symbol, okay? More importantly, what I'm going to show you here in this video is how to use Confluence to really target your trading and look for very low risk setups within the context of a larger trend. Make sense? So first piece of business for all you guys following along at home, I promise you're going to learn something fascinating here, something new, something exciting in this video. But remember, the first thing you need to have is the proprietary clean T-bar charts. That is what makes the price organization look so clean in order for us to draw our pivot points and our trend lines. Make sense? In other words, just don't ever use garbage candlestick charts like this. Don't be one of the 95% of losing traders out there who are screwing around with this nonsense, right? If you really want to make a living speculating in the market, you're going to need professional premium tools, and that's what you're looking at right here, the T-bars clean charts. Makes sense? So let me walk you through the setup from today, guys, all right? I think you're going to find this very, very fascinating, all right? So I was actually doing something different today. I was waiting for the market to kind of consolidate and sort of give me a clue that the sell-off was over, right? And let me draw your attention to these two reversal bars right here, okay? You can kind of see that the low on these two reversal bars are almost identical, and these two green reversal bars look nothing like any of the other ones, right? Meaning that all the other ones, for example, this one and this one and this one and this one, you could just see that they were falling for pretty much the entire morning session, right? Now, out of nowhere, you get something like this, where these two reversal bars print, the lows on these two reversal bars are identical, meaning that you kind of get an indication that maybe the sellers have stopped selling, and it's possible, right? It's not a guarantee, but it's possible that the buyers have now maybe jumped into the driver's seat, right? That's why I really like the T-bar charts, because you can spot this pattern. Now, for those of you guys that are knowledgeable about technical analysis and you've studied chart patterns before, you know what this is called, right? This is called a double bottom. Okay, this is a universally recognized chart pattern. Double bottoms are very few and far between, but man, whenever they print, they have a tendency to be pretty accurate. Now, I'm going to show you how I use this pattern in conjunction with something else that I like. And for all you long-term subscribers of the channel, you know that I'm a big fan of trend lines. You understand what I'm saying? So watch me do this, all right? I'm gonna do this right in front of your eyes. I'm gonna walk you through the perfect setup today on how to nail the exact low. Watch me do this. So the first piece of business, all right, once I had identified this double bottom, I reached back and I wanted to isolate the most recent and relevant pivot points, just like that, okay? Now, what do I do with that pivot point? Well, you guessed it. I connect those two pivot points with a trend line just like you see before you. Okay, nothing too complicated or challenging about drawing these pivot points and then drawing the trend line. And by the way, I'm going to put a quick note here. This is the master T-bar chart. Okay, what I call the higher time frame chart. The strategy that I'm going to show you right now involves having two charts open on your symbol. One higher time frame chart, what I call the master chart. All right, and I've also got, as you can see here, a smaller time frame chart. I'm going to quickly label this here. This is the slave T-bar chart. Makes sense? So here's the master and here's the slave. Understand what I'm saying? So now that three things are in place right now, right? I'm drawing for you guys a roadmap on what I think is going to help you get better at trying to catch those bottoms, those elusive bottoms, and of course trying to catch those shorts. So we've got our master, we've got our slave, right? Now we've got to sort of do some stuff with the drawing object. So watch me do this right now, okay? I am going to double left click the master trend line. I'm going to hit this drop down box and I'm going to make it say all charts. Then I'm going to hit OK. What that is going to do is it's going to draw this master trend line and it's going to pop it in real quick into the slave chart. Makes sense? In fact, let's just go ahead and jump over to the slave chart and verify. Yep, there it is. You see that? So guys, all I've really done is I've taken a master trend line drawing object and I've popped it into a smaller time frame, what I call slave chart. Makes sense? And for those of you guys who have my super trend lines strategy on your NinjaTrader, this should be a piece of cake. It'll do this automatically for you round the clock all day long. Okay, but I still like to do things manually, so just bear with me as I explain to you the manual way of doing things. I always think it's better if you learn and know how to do things manually first before you jump into full-scale automation, right? Anyway, so now that we have our slave chart pretty much prepped and ready to go, we don't even need the master chart anymore, right? Because all of the master chart drawing objects are here for us to look at. So, moment of truth now, guys. Watch this, okay? Let's really zoom in here. Okay, so this is the master trend line, this big old string of green here. This is the master trend line. Now, watch me slap on the wedge add-on. Okay, I think I've done at least 3 or 4 of these wedge videos. You're going to see a lot more of these wedge patterns, guys. I'm telling you, I am starting to become a huge believer in wedge patterns. They've been doing a lot for me as I've been beta testing it, and I think you're going to be very pleased with it. All right, so watch this. To slap on the wedge add-on to your chart, you just right-click in the chart, you go to your list, and you find this build right here. Can you see this? It says wedge breakout. There's actually 2 of them, wedge breakout longs and wedge breakout shorts. Since in this example I am showing you how to catch the exact low or the potential exact low in a sell-off, I'm going to do what? You guessed it, I'm going to slap on the wedge breakout long edition. Okay, so before I hit OK, let me just recap where we are. We are in our slave chart. We've got our master green trend line there. This tells us that, you know, if we're above the trend line, guys, as you can see right here, right, we are above the trend line. Now and only now should we start looking for potential long opportunities. And we're using wedge patterns to identify those opportunities while also using that wedge to keep our stops very tight. You understand? So now that you get the idea, let me go ahead and hit OK here. Let's see what happens. And kaboom. You guys see that? Let me squish this. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get a better idea. You guys see all these yellow boxes here? Okay. This indicates for us every single wedge breakout. This tells us every long signal here. right? And you can see we've got some wedge breakouts above the green trend line, and we've got some wedge breakouts below the green line. So can you guess what I'm going to say next? Okay, give you a couple of seconds here. What I absolutely love about the master higher time frame chart, while combining it with the smaller slave chart, okay, what I absolutely love about that is it keeps me out of a lot of false trades, right? I'm only interested in wedge patterns that are above the green trend line. I'm not interested in any wedge that shows up underneath the trend line, because these are all just false signals. Not interested whatsoever, right? Just alert me, just notify me whenever a wedge prints above the green trend line. And wouldn't you have guessed it, right over here we get two really nice wedges. There was a setup right here. The stop gets placed one tick below that. So there was a nice little setup right there. And if you missed this one, you got another wedge right below that. Although you can see, if you had got in on the second wedge, meaning that if you were, I don't know, lazy or you were distracted where you had actually missed the first wedge, then the second wedge ends up being a loser, right? Because if I stretch out the stop, you can see the stop does actually get tagged a few bars later. That's why I always tell you guys, you got to jump on the very first signal, which is this one right over here, this beautiful wedge. And if I scroll out, guys, let me bring this home. All right, let's clean up some of these drawing objects. Look at that incredible move. I mean, just look at this move, right? Here was the wedge that was tied to the master trend line, okay? And all of these executions happened in the slave chart. We were able to get only a 3-point stop on the S&P 500 E-mini futures today, while being able to grab 45 points, 45 handles on the S&P E-minis, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'll take that all day long, right? Risking 4 points to make 45, I'll take that risk to reward setup all day long. Make sense, guys? So let me bring this home for you so you can practice this today, tomorrow, next week, next month, forever. These are the only 3 things you have to do to transform your trading literally today. Step number one here, identify the trend on your master chart. You saw me do that, right? Let me jump back to the master chart. You have to find a way to properly identify the trend line and thereby the trend on a master chart. Make sense? Nothing complicated about that. Step number 2, pop that trend or trend line onto your slave. This is called confluence. This is called using external data sources to make sure everything lines up, right, in the direction that you want to play. And if everything lines up exactly the way that you want it to, number 3 here, add the wedge, right? Add the wedge to the chart. Make the charts look exactly like this, where you get nice low risk setups within the context of a higher time frame. My friends, that is how you capture gigantic, astronomical winners in any market. Futures, Forex, stocks, options, it's all the same. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video's recap from today. See you in the next trade.